Oh my gosh, guys. Wizards of the Coast has saved the best for last. So it would appear. Throne of Eldraine spoilers season is almost over. But with that, we got some really exciting rares and mythics. I think almost the entirety of this, with the exception of about 4 or 5 cards, are rare and mythics. And usually Wizards saves all the commons and uncommons kind of for the end of spoiler season. That's what I was used to seeing. But this one caught me a little off guard, a little by surprise here, that we see a lot of rares and mythics at the end still. Let's see what all we got. Starting off with Castle Embereth here. Castle Embereth enters the battlefield tapped unless you control a mountain. That right there is pretty cool, because it's basically like a mountain almost. It doesn't say mountain on the card, but all you gotta do is have at least one mountain, and it just plays as it would a mountain, a basic land, you know. But it's got perks. Tap it, add a red mana, and then for 3, tap it. Creatures you control get +1/+0 until end of turn. I don't know about you, but that's a pretty powerful ability on not a basic land, on a land. That is pretty powerful. That's sometimes you see that kind of stuff printed on cards. You know, creatures you control get +1/+1 indestructible. Creatures you control get +1/+1 whatever. This one you're getting +1/+0 until end of turn. You're paying 3. It's a great mana sink as well, and it's on a land. It's not like it's, you know, one of your spells. It's just there. I think that's really cool, and this is something. The land cycle I must talk about really briefly. I made a few complaints over the past year about Wizards of the Coast reprinting lands. I'm like, give us something new. I mean, come on, someone up in that ivory tower has to have some genius idea for some new types of lands. You know, give us some new rare lands that are playable. And that's exactly what they did. They have delivered. I'm pretty excited to try out these new cards here. So here's a card that's being talked about a lot. Escape to the Wilds. And it's being talked about a lot because basically is it worth it? Many Magic the Gathering players are asking, is it worth it to play Escape of the Wilds over Light Up the Stage? One costs 5, one costs 3. One does a heck ton more, but one is like a $3 uncommon. And for good reasons. It sees play in every single deck running red. Escape to the Wilds. 5-drop. Sorcery. Exile the top 5 cards of your library. You may play cards exiled this way until the end of your next turn. You may play an additional land this turn. So there's some perks there. Opposed to Light Up the Stage. You may play an additional land this turn. That's one huge perk. You're also exiling the top 5 cards of your library. And you can play all 5, all those 5. That's a lot to look at, you know. But the question is it too much? Is 5 too much for this? Now, the ramp is there because you could play an additional land. So instead of dropping just 1 land, you can drop 2 lands, where Light Up the Stage would restrict you. You know, say you did draw 2 lands, but for some silly reason you didn't use Light Up the Stage on your second main phase. You would kind of cheat yourself out of playing a land if you already played one that turn. You know, you draw 2 lands, you get stuck. You already dropped 1, you can't do nothing with it. But this is pretty legit sauce here. The fact that doesn't happen, you know, you can play, if you draw 5 lands, you can play 4 of them. It's pretty slick. But do you really want to do that? Do you really want to escape to the wilds? We saw Rhythm of the Wilds. A lot of hype around that, hoping it does a little better this time around. But is it really going to be worth it? I think you might just want to play Light Up the Stage over the Escape to the Wilds, in my opinion. Now, I'm not 100% on that. And if it does see play, it's going to be like 2 ofs. But, I mean, I don't know if it's worth it. We're going to find out. What are your guys' thoughts on that? Sorcerer's Broom is a 2-drop artifact creature spirit. Now, the main thing you want to pay attention to with this card, let me read it real quick and then I'll explain. Whenever you sacrifice another permanent, you may pay 3. If you do, create a token that's a copy of Sorcerer's Broom. It's a 2/1. Now, yes, this would be great. Maybe not even great. I mean, it's kind of slow, to be honest. It's 2 to bring out, and it's on a 2/1. This thing could easily get removed, but it does have a nice little perk on it. It's also an artifact. It's going to have to go in some sacrifice build, obviously. That's most likely we're going to see this. But would it be worth it to even run that, you know? Now, the flavor on this, hats off to Wizards of the Coast. You know, holy smokes. You want to tell me what that's from, if you remember your childhood, correct? Wow. Got the kids watching this, you know. But Sorcerer's Broom being a 2-drop, 2/1, but that ability could get crazy. The only thing you really want to pay attention to on this card is it's a spirit. It is a spirit. Crazy things can happen with spirits, as we've seen in some modern brews and just brews all around. Being that it's a spirit, I think really makes this card shine. We're going to see just what all we can do with this card. Can it be broken? Can we get some crazy brooms, just coming at your face? We're going to find out. But for right now, I don't have anything off the top of my mind that would really make me want to play this like this right now. Then we have Cauldron's Gift and Forever Young. 2-drop. Put on the right Forever Young. Forever Young. Oh, yeah. Put any number of target creature cards from your graveyard on top of your library. Draw a card. I can see that seeing play. It's a sorcery, though, but still. Put any number of target creature cards from your graveyard on top of your library. It's a great way to stay in shape and not mill yourself out. That's pretty cool also, at least you have stuff you can draw, but you're still drawing a card as well. Cauldron's Gift is a 5-drop. Adamant. If at least 3 black mana was spent to cast this spell, put the top 4 cards of your library into your graveyard. You may choose a creature card in your graveyard. If you do, return it to the battlefield with an additional +1/+1 counter on it. We are seeing a heck ton of resurrecting effects, from the graveyard. This has to be the 4th card printed that is, powerful. That's either casting 4 or 5 and brings back a creature and puts it onto the battlefield. And at the end of this video, your mind's going to be blown when you see this one mythic. There's a lot of strategy going around, not only Adamant, but also just around graveyard, retrieving things from your graveyard. This is going to be very interesting. We've already seen decks, and I'll get to that in a minute, that do this kind of thing, and they're very powerful. Castle Ventris. This is cool. I was wondering where this art was going to come into play, and when I first saw it, I thought of that one card, Tolarian Academy. I thought of that one first from Urza's Saga. I thought it was amazing. I'm like, that kind of reminds me of that. I wonder if it's going to be on a blue land. Sure enough, it's a blue land. People are arguing, though, this one's kind of a little weak sauce. But is it really? Castle Ventris enters the battlefield tapped unless you control an island. And then you tap it, add 1 blue mana. For 4, tap it, scry 2. That's pretty powerful late game. Usually blue, you're going to be drawing a lot of stuff. But if you have nothing else to do with your mana, maybe you're just, hit a rut and you really need to get to a certain specific card. Well, you just you pay 4, you tap it and scry 2. That can give you some pretty big perks there. I'm not sure if this is going to be like a 4 of. If you're going mono blue, sure, throw 4 of these in your deck. Why not? Any of these cycle lands that we're seeing right now, I would definitely be running mostly 4 ofs if I'm going just one color. At least 3 ofs. Why would you not, if you're running a mono color, throw all these, make play sets of it every single time? Pretty cool. Not the most amazing power. I understand. It's only a scry 2, but nonetheless, that could come in handy. Then we have Stinky Breath over here. He's a 4-drop with the hybrid casting red or green. Creature giant. Stinky Breath can't be blocked by knights or walls. He's a 5/5. Not sure his actual name right now. If someone wants to fill me in the blank, by all means, go ahead. Little uncommon action. Realm Cloaked Giant. This one's pretty slick. 7-drop. I really like this card. Let me tell you why, Bill. Creature Giant. It has Cast Off. That's right, not Cast Down. Cast Off. For 5. Sorcery. Destroy all non-giant creatures. What does this mean? Are we going to see Giant Tribal in Standard? Oh my God. Look at what we've done here. Maybe. Probably not, though. Let's be honest. Maybe we could destroy all non-giant creatures. If you make a deck and throw in maybe let's say 8 or 10 giants, one thing's for certain, those spells are going to cost you a lot. So you're probably going to need something to reduce the cost of those spells. And then let's say you just run a bunch of removal and stuff. And then you have this card in there as well. And then late game, your whole strategy is basically to survive mid-late game and then just overrun your opponent with huge, large creatures dropping every single turn. That would be the strategy I would see this going in. Vigilance, and it's a 7/7. Pretty powerful stuff there. We already do have some giants right now. We have Yorvo, Lord of Garenbrig. All these are in Throne of Eldraine currently. And Yorvo looks pretty powerful, man. Enters the battlefield with 4 +1/+1 counters on it. And he just gets bigger and bigger with every creature you drop. And sometimes then some. Pretty nuts. And then you have Beanstalk Giant, which I'm not saying that this is going to be, well, it would be a great way to ramp up and probably great with same shape. And then you have Bone Crusher Giant, which is a 3-drop. Stomp, instant, adventure, all that good stuff. Damage can't be prevented this turn. Stomp deals 2 damage to any target. And Bone Crusher is really cool. Whenever Bone Crusher Giant becomes the target of a spell, Bone Crusher Giant deals 2 damage to that spell's controller. It's a 4/3. Pretty legit. So you couldn't fog out these giants. When they do damage, they're dealing damage, man. And they're dealing a lot of it with the Stomp effect there. Pretty cool. And then we also have some other uncommons that have been around. There's a lot more giants. I think there's like in all right now about 18 giants, maybe 20 giants. Howling Giant, Lolith Giant, Sunder Shaman Giant. That one's actually not too bad. You see that sideboard play a lot. Lolith Giant's pretty interesting as well. I wouldn't say Howling Giant's that great. I mean, it is what it is, a 5/5 at reach. That's kind of decent, I guess. But I'm just saying, if you're thinking about going this crazy giant tribal thing, I mean, good luck to you right now. I'd have to say maybe wait for Theros to see if we bring some nasty giants around, like, Sun Titan? Sure, something like that. Maybe get to reprint. Who knows? Castle Garenbrig. Now this is definitely a powerful land here, especially if you're going mono green. It enters the battlefield tapped unless you control a forest. You tap it, add 1 green mana to your mana pool. But for 4, you can tap it and add 6 green mana. Spend this only to cast green spells or activate abilities of creatures. Spend this mana only to cast creature spells or activate abilities of creatures. Could be nuts. Maybe you have some creatures that have these huge sinks on them or whatnot. Some mana sinks. You can just dump into them, with this. But being able to cast very large spells is amazing. Very large creature spells. For decks that are a little sluggish, this will accelerate that, Why not run 4? If you're mainly going nothing but creature builds, and there's also that one card that gives, for every land you tap, add an additional color of mana when you play it. If I want to see someone run nothing, I will do this. Run nothing but creatures, and run this, and run that other card, and let's see what happens. Let's see if we can make a winning baby. You know what I'm saying? What kind of winning baby deck can we make? Something to think about. But very cool card. Sir Alan the Lion's Claw. It's a 5-drop legendary creature, human knight. First strike. Whenever Sir Alan the Lion's Claw attacks, other creatures you control get +1/+1 until end of turn. That's pretty good. He's on a 4/4. That is not bad either. How much play will he see? I'm not really too certain, but it's pretty legit. When he does attack, your other creatures get +1/+1 as well. I like that. If only he got it too. But he's also first strike. I think I talked about this one yesterday, but I wanted to go back to it because I neglected to mention the point of first strike. Pretty legit. Overwhelmed Apprentice. Very powerful card right there. Creature, human, wizard. When Overwhelmed Apprentice enters the battlefield, each opponent puts the top 2 cards of their library into their graveyard. Then you scry 2. It's a 1-deuce. Yeah, Mill is going to be feared, and this card is going to be seeing a ton of play. It has 2 great types on it, human and wizard. This will probably branch out and see play into modern as well. Acclaimed Contender. I like this guy. I love the artwork. It's not a guy, it's a girl, silly. Maybe. Human Knight, 3-drop. Did you know back in the day, a lot of women were knights? Little known fact. Human Knight, creature. When Acclaimed Contender enters the battlefield, if you control another knight, look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may reveal a knight, aura, equipment, or legendary artifact card from among them and put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. Pretty legit stuff. That could be massive. People are also talking, though, how good is that? How good is that effect? Because what if you're looking for something and you're not hitting it? Or what if you don't have another knight on the field? And this thing comes out and it just doesn't work for you, You don't want to get whiffed, You don't want to get whiffed when you drop this guy. What could you do with it, though? Well, just from Throne of Eldraine, just for the artifact and legendary artifact or equipment stuff. Steel Claw Lance, equip creature gets +2/+2. Equip Knight for only 1. Equip for 3. Anything else? Ember Cleave, which is a monster with the flash. It costs 1 less to cast for each attacking creature you control. And when it enters the battlefield, you attach it to target creature control. Equipped creature gets +1/+1 and has double strike and trample. Pretty nuts. Maybe you want to tutor up some of this stuff, and just have it at your disposal, just be able to use it real quick. The Circle of Loyalty, another nutty card. It costs 1 less to cast for each knight you control, and then creatures you control get +1/+1. That's pretty massive. Legendary artifact, though. Be careful running too many of these in your deck. And then whenever you cast a legendary spell, create a 2/2 white knight creature token with vigilance. And then 4, you just tap it, create a 2/2 white knight creature token with vigilance. Pretty bonkers, man. Pretty bonkers. It almost looks like the cape's kind of going over on the artwork between the Circle of Loyalty and Embercleave into the other card. It's kind of funny. Anyway, moving on. Yeah, that's just a small like example. And plus, all the knights you can pull, tutor up and whatnot. It's going to be a lot of fun to run that card. The Cauldron of Eternity. Cauldron of Eternity. This thing is massive. It's a 12-drop. Legendary artifact. The spell costs 2 less to cast for each creature card in your graveyard. Whenever a creature you control dies, put it on the bottom of its owner's library. For 3, tap it, pay 2 life. Return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. Activate this ability only anytime you could cast a sorcery. You can do this unlimited amounts of times. Once a turn, unless you have something that untaps it, which there are cards in Standard that allow you to do that. As many times as you can untap this thing in 1 turn, as many times as you can use it, as long as you can pay the mana to do so. You got to pay 2 life, though. And it doesn't gain haste. I mean, paying 12 for an artifact, and obviously you're going to be using this in a mill deck. A self-mill build. You'll probably see Jace floating around in there too, maybe. Maybe not. Probably not. But yeah, in a self-mill deck where you're just bringing back large, bulky, crazy, powerful creatures. We've seen stuff like this already. Blood for Bones and Agent of Treachery. I made a deck around this, and it is stupid good. Just search in YouTube. Everyone hates this deck. You will see this deck. Very, very, very powerful deck, my friends. Just being able to bring back creatures like Agent of Treachery. And there's cards that allow you just to bounce a card back to your hand for very dirt cheap. It's like I think it's a 1 or 2 drop. No, it's a 2 drop, and then you pay 1. It's an enchantment. And you just throw a card back to your hand. You don't bounce it, but you put it back into your hand. And then just cast it again next turn. It's ridiculous. Very powerful deck. I highly recommend you guys go check it out if you haven't seen it yet. So we're going to see these kind of shenanigans all over again, but with a card that allows you to continuously bring back anything from your graveyard. Looking forward to it. Castle Lochthwain. Castle Lochthwain enters the battlefield tapped unless you control a swamp. Tap it, add a black mana to your mana pool, and then for 3, 1 colorless and 2 black mana, tap it. Draw a card, then you lose life equal to the number of cards in your hand. I really like the artwork on it. I wish I had a better image for this card to see it in more detail. But how good is that? You're drawing a card, then you're losing life equal to the number of cards in your hand. I mean, you're probably going to want this in some kind of life gain build. Otherwise, you're going to be SOL pretty quick. Paying 3 to draw 1 card already is really not the most amazing thing. And if you are running life gain, I think there's already better options for you out there to draw cards. It's a 2-drop enchantment. Take a look. But yeah, losing life equal to the number of cards in your hand. There's got to be something where when you lose this much life, or whenever you lose life, you deal this much damage. To target opponent loses that much life. Maybe something like that. That would be kind of broken though. They probably will never make that. But with Theros coming around, I don't really see too much that this is going to be that great. I could be putting my foot in my mouth right now by saying that. Let me know how you guys think this is going to synergize. I think anything, though, where there's an ability on it that's outside of just being a normal basic land, I mean, that's pretty cool. There's a plus side to this. I'm just not sure on this one yet. I'm sure it's 3 draw. I don't know, man. Then this is an alternate artwork. The Silver Flame Squire. I had to throw it up here because I really like it. Basically. Human Soldier, on alert for 3, instant adventure. Target creature gets +2/+2 until end of turn. Untap it. There you go. 2 for 1. All right. Well, it's a 2-1. A pretty cool card, though. I spoiled this one yesterday. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Yeah, I've been having some almost sleepless nights lately. Almost sleepless nights with the baby arriving. So, yeah, if I do seem a little off, you know why. Okay. Thank you so much, guys, for tuning in again. Smash that like button, leave a comment, let me know what cards you're looking forward to. I think we still have a few more spoilers yet to go, though. So, yeah, stay tuned for that as well. Skadoosh.